Before any text is read, Section 1.1, Organize the Challenge, Accidents in McFarland. The purpose of this lesson is to introduce the accident challenge through a combination of video and text to provide students the context for their investigation. Students will learn that the town of McFarland has been having many severe truck-car accidents at their downtown intersection, and that the town wants more information on how to reduce the number of these accidents. This challenge starts out with a video. Before any text is read in class, it is important to make sure that the students view the launcher video. Prior to class, it is important to have the introductory DVD put into your DVD player or computer and be ready to play Video 1 Introduction. You simply would click on this link for Video 1 Introduction. This is purely an entertainment motivation video for students to get excited about solving the challenge. Once the students have watched this video, you will then have them read the accompanying text in their student edition. This accompanying text will describe the problem that McFarland has about their intersection, which seems to have a large number of dangerous accidents involving large tractor-trailer trucks hitting smaller cars. And these accidents have been causing major damage to the cars and serious injuries. After students have been introduced to the challenge, they will receive some After students have been introduced to the challenge, you should pass out the maps packet. In this maps packet, there is a series of 4 maps. The first map shows an overview or bird's eye view of the McFarland area and a circle around the intersection. This is important for students to get an idea of certain constraints or limitations that might exist when attempting to solve this problem. The second map is an intersection close-up, which shows students the directions of traffic that occur at this intersection, the stop sign, and where the trucks will be merging in onto the road. It also provides names of streets, so as students are reading the text later, they will now understand what streets that they are discussing. Map 3 provides a previous year's accident data. This will show accident data from last year. The circles with the hole without the cross in the middle are minor injuries. The circle with the cross in the middle shows a major or severe injury. This also shows the site of collision, so students can see that the collisions are often happening when the car is stopped to make that left turn onto Main Street, and that the car is then pushed through the intersection after it is hit by the large truck. So the student should recognize, and this is important, that the circles represent the final stopping points, not where the accident occurred, but the final stopping points, and that they would use the legend to identify what if the final stopping point, if there is a major injury or a minor injury. The site of collision is right at the intersection. Map 4 shows this year's accident data, again just emphasizing that these circles are the final stopping points. They're where the car has been pushed after it has been hit. So if the car was hit into the intersection, this is where the car finally stopped. And again, minor or major injuries are shown in the legend. Please make sure students understand the purpose of each map. After students have reviewed the maps packet, they are going to learn a little bit more about why they have been asked to solve the challenge. There's a short article, Engineering Help Needed, which explains that the students will take on the role of an engineer to help solve this challenge. It defines engineers are professionals who attempt to solve challenges like McFarland's. An engineer is a person who, given a problem and a specific set of goal, finds a solution to the problem that satisfies the goal with given materials, time, and resources. They apply their scientific and mathematical knowledge to develop a solution to a problem or a challenge. In order for students to better understand their role as an engineer, at this point, you would show video 2. What is an engineer? This video is about 2 minutes and introduces students to the idea of how engineers solve problems, but also exactly what a traffic engineer might do. After students have gone through the introduction to the challenge and now understand their role as an engineer, we start to look at how to organize the challenge. This is where the students should receive the challenge organizer sheets. There are 3 sheets. We are just using the first 2 during section 1.1. The first part to organize the challenge, what do we think we know? Students should work in groups and fill out the box, things we think we know about the problem from prior experience. In facilitating this conversation, you might ask students, have you ever been in a car accident? Have you seen a car accident? What do you hear and see when you either whether you have been in one or whether you have just observed a car accident? What does it feel like to be in a car accident? So really work on maybe getting their emotions, getting their senses, and engaging them into thinking, yeah, I've seen a car accident. Yeah, I've seen metal being crushed. I feel like I'm thrown back and forth. I feel it when the car has been hit. So really get them to express what they know about the problem. You can then also talk about, a lot of the students might go into what causes car accidents. Students might discuss, texting while driving causes a lot of car accidents, because this is a broad topic. So you can then also discuss, what might cause car accidents. Some of these items we might not go over during this learning set, but then you might actually go back to this challenge organizer during learning set 2, and you can bring up some other ideas of what might cause accidents. So there's a lot of ways to elicit information from the students already know. They might realize that they know a lot more about car accidents than they think. After they review some of the information that they know about car accidents, the next step in organizing the challenge is looking at what do we want to know. So at this point, students are going to make some observations. This is the first step in writing questions. Students will be scaffolded through the question writing process. Writing questions for middle school students could be a difficult task. So how we're going to scaffold them is we're going to provide them with specific observations and ask them to write a question based on those observations. This goes in the what we want to know columns. You will see that there are 4 observations, and students will assist in writing questions for 3 and 4 questions for their observations. Students will assist in writing questions for 2 of these observations. We'll examine questions written for the other 2, and then write a possible observation for a question that has been provided. So an example is there are many more severe accidents at the McFarland intersection this year. This observation was made off of the maps, and so the question might be, well, was there a change in the road intersection this past year? If there's many more severe accidents, maybe there is a change. So again, you view how you might scaffold answering these questions based on the observation. Second observation provided, the accidents are occurring when vehicles are making a left turn. The question is, were the vehicles hit stopped or hit when in the process of making their turn? So this might be an example of a clarifying question from an observation that they've made. So you can have kind of inquiry questions, clarifying questions, all to help them figure out what do we need to know to begin to solve this challenge. The third observation, many of the locations of the vehicles after the accidents are off of the road this year. Again, so there might be possible questions, clarifying questions. How far were they off the road? Where did they go off the road? Did they go off the road immediately or further down? What type of car hit them when they went off of the road? Were there severe injuries when they went off of the road? So these might be all sorts of questions, whether inquiry or clarifying questions that could be answered here. Number 4, the locations of the vehicle with injured passengers are further away from the intersection than the vehicles with non-injured passengers. So, a question is, were those vehicles hit harder by the trucks? What type of cars hit those vehicles? Were the closer accidents hit by lighter trucks? Were the trucks speeding when they hit the cars that had injured passengers? Was the car stopped or moving when it was hit? So these are all possible questions that could go along, and there's a bunch of questions, a large variety of questions. These are just some examples. And then the last question we wrote, the students would then write a possible observation. What types of vehicles were involved in fatal accidents? So possibly an observation there might have been, it seems that large trucks were always hitting small, smart cars at the intersection. There is a large difference between the sizes of the cars involved in these accidents. So any sort of thing that would discuss maybe the types of vehicles or the number of fatalities or severe accidents would work as an observation there. Okay, so once students have kind of worked on the scaffolding process and learned how to make questions from observations, they will start to get some more information about the challenge. And this information will come from both the police chief and the mayor. They will eventually then take these observations that they write down and write some additional questions. So, here.